It's Texas football talk
from those who wore the burnt orange.
Welcome to Longhorn Lowdown. Now here's Todd Hunt, Stevie Lee, and Stu Myrick.
Welcome to another edition of Longhorn Lowdown. It is a beautiful week here in the beautiful ATX. Stu Myrick, along with Todd Hunt, Stevie Lee. What's up, fellas?
What's up? What's up?
And joining us in the virtual lounge on the virtual couch this week, you know, when you think of the Texas Longhorns and you think of the running back position, most everybody goes straight to Ricky and Earl. I dare say this man is in that conversation at least. 3-time All Southwest Conference running back, 1987 Conference Player of the Year. He was inducted into the Longhorns Hall of Honor in 2002. A 13-year career in the NFL, 3-time All-Pro, led the NFL in kickoff return yards in 1990, also a member of the Texas Sports Hall of Fame, inducted in 2017. The pride of Seattle, Washington, and Arlington, Virginia. He is number 21 in your program, number 1 in your hearts. Eric Metcalf, how are you, man?
I'm good. And number 2 in your program if we're talking about Texas, right?
That's right.
That's true. That's true.
Right.
So you were number 2 at Texas, but you were 21 in the pros, right?
Right. I mean, number 2, that was my little league number, my high school number, and my Texas number. If I could have wore it in the NFL, I would have.
Okay, who prevented you from wearing number 2 in the NFL?
My position. Only quarterbacks and kickers. And so I went with 21, which was my dad's number.
All right. Well, that makes sense. There you go. You can't have your number, might as well get dad's number. That's cool.
Right. Yeah.
That's cool. How are things doing? How are you? How's the family during this crazy COVID time?
You know, everybody's good. Wife and daughters are here. My son is down at ASU training with the football team, so he's at school. And just like almost everybody, we're going through these crazy times. But what makes it worse for us is the fact that we have all this smoke from these fires coming from California, Oregon, and from Eastern Washington. So we really can't do anything.
Yeah, I imagine. And you're in Arizona, correct?
No, I'm in Seattle.
Oh, you're in
Yes.
Seattle. Okay, so
I'm in Seattle. Yes.
It's hitting you big time then. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been watching some of the footage from like the Weather Channel and some of the other news outlets, and it is astounding how much, you know, those wildfires has spread and how much damage they're causing and everything. So, of course, our prayers go out to all the folks involved or all the folks affected by the wildfires. Tell us a little bit about growing up. You were born in Seattle. How did you find your way to Virginia?
I was growing. I'll tell you a good story. I grew up in Seattle. I went to high school in Seattle my freshman year. When I went to high school, I was only 13 years old, so I still could have played little league football with my friends. I was trying to convince the coaches at the high school here that they should let me play varsity, and they wouldn't because it's all boys school and they didn't let freshmen play varsity. But I thought I was good enough where they would let me play, and so that's why I didn't play with my friends. So I ended up playing freshman football. We played 5 games against 3 teams. So we played two teams twice, right? And so that was not any fun. Meanwhile, my friends won another little league title. And so I was mad because they played 11 games. Mm-hmm. So I told the coach, if you don't let me play varsity football as a freshman, I will not be here next year. I promise you I won't. And I guess they didn't believe me. And so at that time, my dad was finishing with the Redskins. So I moved to Virginia with him, and the rest is history. Because my ultimate goal was to play college football in the South. And I thought if I didn't start playing as a freshman in Seattle, I wasn't going to have that opportunity. So I went to Virginia.
Okay.
Well, how was life with a NFL dad? I mean, tell me about that situation, because I knew your dad played for the Browns, you know, but how was growing up with a father who's in NFL? How did you even, daily routines? I mean, that's pretty cool.
I mean, and he played for the Cardinals. St. Louis Cardinals. Yeah. But it was a cool thing, you know. I mean, especially being young and being in school, everybody would, for show and tell, would bring toys in and things they got for Christmas. And I'd bring my dad in, you know. and so it was cool. You know, a lot of people always ask me, was there pressure for you to play football and try to be like your dad? And I was like, I never really felt any, because I was good. And now if I wasn't good, I probably would have felt the pressure. I'm not as good as my dad, or I want to be like my dad, but I was good enough where it worked out. And so I didn't feel any pressure. It was easier to just go out there and play.
So how was life growing up in that household? I mean, you know, did you have any brothers and sisters? I don't remember if you did or not.
I have all younger brothers.
So
Only
you
one
were the
of them
leader.
play football. Yeah, I'm the leader. Yeah. Yeah.
So I know you got to
play football.
But the second one younger than me did. So yeah, he played, and he played at South Carolina State, and then he played in the World League for a hot second, and he was allocated by the Chiefs, and so he played quickly, but he had a little time. He actually has the longest touchdown in World League history.
Wow. That's pretty cool. So
Well,
tell me about
Eric,
that time period. Go ahead, Willie. I'm sorry, Stevie.
That's my bad. Eric, I'm Stevie. We met
I know you are. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I played from 2000 to 04-05 season. I wanted to ask you about your recruiting process, man. So you got on the map when you finally went over to Virginia to play football?
Yes.
So how'd that go? What schools were after you?
Well, I'd like to say everybody. to be honest, I mean, you know, I took a visit to Texas, of course, Notre Dame, Georgia, Miami, and Nebraska.
So everybody.
The ones that count anyway, especially in that time.
Those are my 5 visits. I'm not gonna lie to you. I went to Miami and I committed within 2 hours of the trip.
Wow. Hey man, hey, you know what? I did the same thing. I was gonna say, I went to Miami. I went to Miami on this trip, and you guys remember Brian McKinney?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was my host, and he had redshirted that year. And Eric, whatever you did, I probably did the same thing that day. It was Halloween weekend in South Beach. I'll just leave it at that.
Hey, 2 hours within the trip. I mean, after I committed, they didn't take me to see any school buildings. I ain't see anything. I ain't see anything but fun. And then you know, after I did all that, the problem was I was only 17 years old, so trying to convince my mom and dad to let me go to the U at that time, they weren't having it. And so I didn't ever even tell Miami that I wasn't coming there until signing day, because I was still trying to convince my parents that this was the school for me. My dad had all kind of people calling me, do not go there and everything. And I was still convinced, no, I'm 17. I'm ready to be on my own in South Beach, in Coral Gables. I'm going to go out there and have fun, but they weren't having it. I told them I wasn't coming. I started calling coaches and telling them I didn't sign. So I'm basically opening up recruiting again. Coach Akers came to see me, and I committed and signed to Texas because I felt it was the right place for me, really and truly, because I was playing football, running track. Miami's track program wasn't very good, so I was really basically willing to give up the track just to have a little fun. But it all worked out. I'm glad I made that choice.
It did, and in fact, you won 2 conference titles and 2 national titles in the long jump, correct?
Well, in my mind, I won 3 national titles.
Okay. Well, it probably should have been 3. Somebody messed up the judging.
No, that's not. Honestly, that's not what happened. So my freshman year, I won it. I come back my sophomore year, and going into the finals, I was 3rd. You jump in reverse order, obviously. My first jump, I took the lead, and so. Second jump, I'm leading. Third jump, I'm leading. But because I was 3rd, those 2 guys had jumps after me. And so when I was getting dressed thinking I had won again, both those guys passed me. So I ended up getting third. Then I came back my junior year and won it. And I didn't jump my senior year because my goal was to win it 4 years. So I figured I'd just get ready for the draft.
Okay.
Must be nice to be so talented, sir.
Hey, with that in mind, I can give you a story about that because
I do.
In 1988, I was on track and field news, the cover of track and field news. I had won the U.S. national championships, and then we had the Olympic trials that year.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going, and we're in Indianapolis, and it just starts thunder and lightning and pouring down rain, and they're telling everybody to leave the stands, and all the jumpers are on the field, and Carl Lewis is on the runway, right? And all the jumpers, they're telling Carl, don't jump. And he just stands there. And they're like, and he's like, I'm jumping. So he takes off in this thunder and lightning and this rain. He runs down there, he jumps, he lands in the sand, never looks back, throws his arms up and walks out the pit. And it was a 28-foot 10 jump.
Wow.
And at that moment, and it was my junior year, going to my senior year of football. At that moment, I looked at all my friends in the tent, all the long jumpers, and I looked at them and said, "Thank goodness for football."
So basically, what you're saying is your Olympic aspirations ended with Carl Lewis. Is that what we're hearing?
It's funny. They didn't end with that, but I have to say that was like the only time in my life that I didn't want to win something, and it's weird because I did not want to make the Olympic team because I was going into my senior year. I was a so-called Heisman Trophy candidate, and in my mind, I'd rather have that trophy than go to Olympics any day.
Wow.
All right.
I mean, there are a lot of people who have Olympic medals that we've never ever heard of, but there's only a select few, one person a year that gets that trophy. And so that was my goal. I mean, Barry Sanders had a great year that year, so I wouldn't have got it anyway. But
I beg to differ on that one because if you had an offensive line, you would have won. I'll tell you that right now. I'm not nothing about my boys that played O-line back in that day, but if you had an O-line that could block for you, then I guarantee you and Barry would have been neck and neck, if not.
Hey, let be on the record that Eric Metcalf did not say that.
Hey, I can say that. I can say that because I was on the practice field. I was on the practice field going against those guys. And I got your leads me to the story that I'm going to tell you. So I'm a redshirt freshman on the first team practice squad going against Eric and the first teamers. And, of course, I don't know any different. Coach says, go balls to the wall. I said, cool. So I go on, boom, and go off, hit the guard, flip over. Eric's going around the corner, boom. I hit tackle Eric. The next thing I hear is, ooh, and I hear Coach Matt Williams says, Hunt, get your fat ass off my fucking field. You don't hit my running back. You don't get your ass over here now. And I was like, what the fuck did I do? What did I do? So that's my official introduction to Eric Metcalf. So I was kicked out the rest of practice.
And you know, it's even crazy because I used to have talks with Coach Mize, who was the running back coach and the offensive coordinator. And I used to be like, look here, I can't have these dudes hitting me in practice. Because I always, and when on the running plays, I would carry the ball a long way down the field because I wanted to get used to it because I figured I was going to break long touchdowns. So I wanted to just keep doing it and be used to it because I always said I wanted to be able to do it in the fourth quarter as well as in the first quarter, right? And so I told him that, so he was like, don't hit him.
Right. So I didn't even know that. So the next time, hey, the caveat to that is the next time, a couple of practices later or so, same situation happened. And, I'm a freshman. I'm stupid. I don't know. But the second time, it's like you're right in front of me. And then I'm grasping at air and falling on my face and everybody's laughing at me because Eric goes, and gone. I'm like, what the hell just happened? Everybody's laughing at me, looking at me. Oh, you stupid freshman. Blah, 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 blah. So
see, so I don't know, back then, I don't really know if I was really shaking people in practice because I know they weren't allowed to hit me either.
Yeah, you were shaking me. I was shook. I was shook
He
because they
rarely
teased
admits
me
it.
the rest of the game, rest of the evening, and on the weekend. Eric fucked you up, didn't they? Yeah, I did. It's all right.
Need T-shirts. I was shook by Eric Metcalf.
Join the gang.
There you go. Absolutely.
So Eric, as a freshman watching you that your senior year and everything, man, I was always amazed. Now I was on the sidelines and I'm sitting there watching you do everything, very amazed at your talent. So when you were there, because I was there your last year, so before I got there, was there a time that you were like one good memory of football on the 40 acres or several? I know you guys partied hard. Now, well, I say that. I know you guys had a good time in Jester. So I know you guys had a great time in Jester. So give me some info about that one, because I know you got a good story in there. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Push that button. Yes, I can.
Well, we want to do football or on the field or off the field?
Listen, because off the field everybody's kind of nuts. We know that. But see, we didn't have video cameras and TikTok and all this stuff here. We don't have none of that stuff back in the day.
Okay, so I give you one. That it ain't that bad, but my roommate and I, Tim McCray, who you know.
I love Tim to death. Yeah.
Of course. So I don't know, maybe my senior year for sure. You probably would never know this, but at night we decided we would go over to one of the dorms, and so we put on robes and cowboy boots. That could have been one. We put on robes. We put on robes and cowboy boots and walk over. So we'd be walking through campus with robes.
Okay. Now, for those that may not be that familiar with UT campus, why is Kinsolving Dormitory so special?
All women, baby.
Oh,
there you go.
All women, baby.
I was going to say, we do get a few listeners that don't know, these things, but yeah, you're right. It was.
So that's one of my funny memories off the field. But one of my favorite memories that no one ever probably thinks about is like, when I first got to Texas and we started practicing. And once again, I'm only 17. I played my entire freshman year at 17 years old. I didn't turn 18 until January.
Wow.
In the second semester. And so when I first got there and we had to do a running test, which was how many down and back 100s you could do in 12 minutes. Yep. And I'll never forget, my time was average. I got average. Tim got average. Darren Norris got average. But we were the only three freshmen who actually played as freshmen. And so we all got average. And I remember going through practice and talking to Tim. And I was like, look here, man. Either I'm real good or Texas football isn't what I thought it was.
Right.
And he was like, why can't it be both? And I said, okay. And I said, okay. And so then it's ready. It's his first game. We're playing Missouri. And I don't know why, but Coach Akers says the second team is going to start.
Wow. So
Tim got the start and Darren Norris got the start. But I had to stand on the sideline. and that was cool. But then but Missouri kicked off. I mean, they punted. The very first punt of the game, the very first time I touched the field, I took it all the way back.
Boom.
But they said I stepped out of bounds after like 50 yards.
Oh.
I still don't believe them.
Where's the film? We got the film somewhere.
Right?
We got the film somewhere.
And at that moment, I said it's a great memory for me, because at that moment I was like, yeah, I belong here. I belong here for sure.
Well, I got to tell you, man, it was pretty awesome watching you play, from the sidelines as a team member. And I don't, we have other good running backs that come through. Actually, Chris Samuels lives right next door to me. I don't know if I told you that before.
Oh, no.
So Samuels is right next door. He bought the house next door about a year or so ago. So he and I we were hanging out last night across the way having stogies with the neighbors. So, but it's good. And actually told me to tell you hi, because I told him I was going to talk to you tonight. So
I'll tell him hey, for sure.
So what's next for you, man? I mean, what have you been doing, for this last decade or two or three, actually?
So I do consulting with Nike Track and Field. So
Okay.
I didn't get to do that this year because all the meets were canceled and everything. But I've been doing that. I've been involved a lot in track. I was coaching track at the University of Washington. I had a track club, which was comprised mostly of high school kids because I was trying to find a way to help kids get to school on somebody else's dime. And I do a pregame and postgame show on a local station in Cleveland for the Browns.
Oh, okay.
Ah, wow, that's pretty
All
cool.
right. Did you know? What's his name? Vic Caruso worked in Cleveland.
Yes,
so
for
Vic
sure.
and I got to know each other the first time I got to go to a Super Bowl. He and I sat next to each other on Radio Row, and he was a nice man.
Was he with Buffalo then?
I think he was still with Cleveland. This was 2013.
He's still in Cleveland.
This was like 2013.
Yeah, so he was still in Cleveland.
Yeah, so
he was in Cleveland.
Cleveland.
Right. So he kicked Buffalo and then came to Cleveland, then went back. Right.
So, when you were at Tech, when you got to Texas, and understanding the coming on as a freshman, who was it that kind of took you under their wing?
Well, I'd have to say Everett Gay and William Harris, because Tim and William went to school together, high school at Smiley, so we were always together, so we were always with them. And then, which a lot of people didn't like at the time, but Edwin Simmons.
Edwin, oh yeah, I remember Edwin. He was crazy, man. He was crazy back in the day.
Everybody was trying to stay away from him, but Edwin was cool. He was a very cool dude,
Mm-hmm.
He was just Edwin. And so, but that's another person took me under his wing. And so, it was fun because I came there and guys really took me in like they had known me forever, like I was from Texas. And so that's what made it fun, even though we didn't win as many games as we wanted to. I hope to. It was still fun, and I would never trade it for the world.
Absolutely. What was your
so
favorite?
So, like, which better, football or track? Which you like better at Texas?
Well, I'd have to say, if we're talking about from the team standpoint, I have to say track because we were winning Southwest Conference titles. We were second twice at the NCAAs. We were third once, and so as a team, and then I got to win 2/3 national championships as an individual. But I would never trade anything for. I play football all day at that stadium, even though we didn't, like I said, didn't win the games that we wanted to. It was still fun. It was still fun going to Aggie Land. It was still fun going to the Cotton Bowl and playing OU. And I never beat either one of those teams, but I had a blast playing them because I knew that I was going to give them hell and they was going to have to really work to stop me.
Yeah, absolutely. And you kind of you helped with that legacy because Texas Track and Field has, for a very long time, going even back before you, has always been one of the top programs in the country, winning, NCAA indoor titles, outdoor titles, and such. And I know you were a big part of those, big part of that back in your day, winning those conference titles and such.
Yeah, and it was fun. I mean, because back then everybody used to let football players compete because it was me and James Lott, who was a cornerback on the team who won multiple national titles as well in the high jump. And so we would go up there and we really loved it because our group would go to the NCs and just in our jump group and we'd score like 40 points just in our group. And so we'd give our team a chance to win the national title. And so we loved being there because we could show up at meets and know that we were going to compete and do well. And then after that, you get to look at the sights.
Yeah. Now, Stevie and Todd will back me up on this, so I got to see what your answer is because Oscar Giles gave us the same answer. Tim Crowder gave us the same answer. Give me one of those things about Austin that you miss the most.
All my boys.
Okay. All right.
That's what I missed. I really miss. But I say that, but I'd have to say if we're gonna take the boys out, I'd say It just goes
Like a
back to the
place?
same thing.
Is there a place, maybe somewhere you like to go, like when you weren't practicing, you didn't have, want to take a break from the books and such, and you wanted to get off campus or whatever? Somewhere that you like to go in Austin while you were here in Texas at Texas.
Midtown.
Okay.
East side.
There you go. All right.
Hey, man, that's a good one.
I think is Midtown still there, Stevie? I haven't. I thought it.
It moved to a new
It
spot.
burned
right?
down a few years back, and
Yeah.
then they built it to. Yes, it's here, but from the stories that I've heard, back in y'all's era, and I got an older sister-in-law that went to Texas, and the way she talked about it, it's not the same place.
Yeah.
Right.
From back then. I heard that you guys had a lot of fun over there, man.
Oh, it was a lot of fun. I've been there.
A lot of fun everywhere.
Yeah. Hey, Eric
I'm
was
born
the
for
king.
fun.
Eric can just walk anywhere. What do you need? What you want? What you want? Oh, I got that for you. But you know what? He deserved because he was a badass. That's all I'm going to say.
Well,
Yeah, you know what? That was back in the day when Austin was still a small town, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
if you were an Eric Metcalf, you can walk anywhere. I mean, is statute of limitations gone on this?
Yes.
Oh God, yes.
It's all past.
It's 30 plus years. I think.
Man, come on, man. Yeah.
We're
Hey,
good.
Eric was Matthew McConaughey today. Eric was Matthew
We're
McConaughey
good.
before Matthew McConaughey was Matthew McConaughey in
No
Austin.
question. So I played with Chris Sims, Cedric Benson, Corey Redding, DJ Johnson. So I know when these guys walk in the building, people stop. I was just happy to be to ride the coattail. You know what I'm saying?
I like the fact that we were pre-social media and all that. I like the fact that we could do whatever and not worry about everybody taking pictures or posting something, because we could just be free and have fun and really be college students and college kids and live the college life. Although we were players, we still could be
Under the radar
scene.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Fly under the radar.
Go
and
to
have
step
fun.
parties, do every stuff.
That's right. Well, and that was
not today. Not today. You
Everything.
stepping? Where you stepping at? Who you stepping with?
Well,
Right.
and that's the thing. Austin back then, it wasn't known for South by Southwest or ACL or F1 or any of that stuff. It was the state capital, and it was the home University of Texas, and that was it. You didn't have a demo, you didn't have all the high tech stuff, you didn't have all the festivals. It was still a college town, quite frankly.
Right.
And that was probably, I think Armadillo World Headquarters was still around back then, wasn't it? Weren't there still like a shade of them around back in the mid 80s?
I think so.
Okay. So see, there you go. And that's what made Austin. So I totally get that. When did you have the inkling that you were going to play in the NFL?
When I was 8.
Okay. So you wanted to be, you're one of those like Nick Saban offering, like a fifth grader. Your side, you get drafted before you hit middle school, right?
Right. When I was 7, I played in a game and I scored 10 touchdowns. 3 got called back, and so at a very early age, and my buddy always talks about who I grew up with. At a very early age, I started practicing my signature because I was copying my dad's for the most part. But I started practicing because I was like, I'm going to the NFL. But when we're getting realistic, that's real. But when we're talking about at Texas, I knew it like my freshman year. And after my freshman year, I knew that I had the ability to go out there and play with the pros. I remember pro day in the springtime after freshman season. Mike Lombardi, who was with the Browns at the time, he was at the Niners at the time. He came to me and I was in the track, so I wasn't doing the pro day. He came to me and said, "Hey, I saw film of you. When it's your time, I'm going to draft you." And I'm like, "Yeah, whatever, sure." And so fast forward, he's with the Browns. 3 days before the draft, he comes down to Austin and he says, "Hey, I need you to run these box tests because we're talking about drafting you. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. He's like, no, I need you to. I said, no. He said, we don't have a time, because I didn't do it at the combine. He's like, we don't have a time on you. I said, well, I'm not doing it because I just finished playing basketball. If I do this right now and I don't do it as fast as you think I should, what does that do to my draft stock?
Yeah.
I said, so I would only be hurting myself. So you've seen the film. We're just gonna have to go with that. And I think, I don't remember what pick they had at the time, but come draft day, I come up home to Seattle with all my family, and I remember sitting with my mom, and they said the Cleveland Browns or Denver Broncos would trade the pick to the Cleveland Browns, the 13th pick. And I looked at my mom. I said, I'm getting drafted. And she said, no, you're not. And I said, yes, I am. And the Browns drafted me. And it was because of Mike Lombardi, who said he was going to draft me after my freshman year.
Nice.
First round, 13th overall in the 1989 NFL draft by the Cleveland Browns. And you spent 5 years, 6 years with the Browns?
6 years. And a lot of people don't know. I think they gave up like 4 or 5 picks for me.
Yes.
To get that trade. See, people don't know that. And I'm like, oh, they gave up a lot for me. I guess I had to produce.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what was it like, when you first got there in the league, well, you're pretty fast, so I can't say it was a bigger, faster, stronger, but what was the biggest change between college and NFL?
The playbook. I it's funny because when I was in Texas, I used to sit there and watch pro games and think, how am I going to know when they're changing these plays and all that? Because, Texas, we weren't audible and all that. We just, hey, let's run 71. Let's run that sprint draw. Right. And that's it. And that's all we were doing. So that was the biggest thing. I think just being able to know everything and catch it on the fly, especially with Bernie Kosar, who was a very smart quarterback.
Right.
And so he would audible. He would look at you and expect you to know that he has changed something without saying anything. And so just the way he looked at you. So I held out my rookie year. And so I only played one preseason game, but I remember my very first practice. I don't know why they put me in there, and it was a play where the running back was split out wide. And of course, Bernie audible is the first play. And it hits me in the back of the head with the football because I didn't know what I was doing. But I hadn't been there, so he just did it to be funny. And he's like, hey, Rook, I got you. That was one of those things. But, at that point, I just I knew, like, these guys are going to be all right. They're cool. They'll take care of me, which they did. And it's funny because after I got drafted there and I went to minicamp in May, it was snowing in Cleveland.
Wow.
And I didn't go through minicamp because they wouldn't give me a insurance package because I hadn't signed, but they wouldn't give me insurance, so I wouldn't. I didn't. My agent was like, "Do not practice because if you get hurt, they're not going to take care of it." And so I just sat around and watched, and it was snowing, and I was sat there. And I just remember sitting there thinking, "It's May, it's snowing. They play on natural grass." So it's going to be snowing in the winter. I'm coming from Austin, Texas, playing on AstroTurf. This is not going to work. But once I got there, it worked out just fine. It was fun. The guys took me in, and I had a blast. And when people talk about me and my NFL career, to me, that's really the only team I played for.
Right.
So when did you know, okay, you go through, you play for the Cleveland Browns, and you're having a nice career here. What are the other teams you played for? Just Cleveland Browns? Or you said you played for Browns?
No, I played for a lot of teams because at the time, I think somebody's caught me now, but I had been traded twice, and I don't think that ever happens. So I played at Cleveland. Then they traded me to the Falcons. I played there 2 years. They fired June Jones. And that was the reason I was traded there, and so I left to San Diego as a free agent, and I only went there because that's my favorite team as a kid. So I figured I can go there and play for my favorite team. Then they traded me after 1 year to the Cardinals, who my dad played for. And before I got there, my dad was like, "You're gonna hate playing for them because the owners suck." And I did. I hated it. Even though he was in St. Louis and I was in Arizona, I still hated it. And then after that, 98, when 99, I went to Carolina. 99, I went to Carolina. Yeah, 2000, I sat out. Then I went to the Redskins in 2001.
That's a long career, man. And when did you realize, hey, I'm done with this? I got to go.
Well, to be honest, I had after the 99 season, when I was pretty much fed up with Carolina and everything, and I was like, I'm done. And so I didn't play in 2000.
Oh, wow.
And so they called, so then the Raiders called me back in 2001. They and I signed there early. I'm flying down there, staying there for OTAs, all season program, then flying back home on Thursday nights, flying back down there on Sundays the whole time. And then the day I called my buddy, I remember calling and say, "Hey man, you got to come down here, help me drive my car back to Seattle because I'm about to get cut." And they're like, "No, he's like, "No, you're not." I said, "I promise you, I get a big roster bonus tomorrow. They're gonna cut me." And so they called me in. I'd already packed my car, everything. I'd already packed everything. They called me in and they're like, we got to let you go. And I was like, okay, cool. I expected that. Then he said, it was Bruce Allen. Then he said, "Well, we're gonna try to bring you back in a couple of days." I said, "Oh no, you're not. You're not just trying to get me for the cheap. No, you are not bringing me back. Do not call me."
Wow.
So they didn't call me, and then I ended up going to the Redskins in like week 7.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and so
And that was
so
it.
I did that. Then I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. That's in my mind. I'm done. So the next year is 2002. They play a whole football season. Green Bay Packers call me week 17, which is, the 16th game
Right.
for them.
Yeah.
And I week 17, and my agent's like, "You want to go play?" And I'm like, and I look at their record, and they're like 13-2.
Oof.
I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'll go play." and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'll go play because there's a chance for me to go to Super Bowl."
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're a very good team. There's a chance for me to go to Super Bowl. And if it were a situation where I knew that I might not play, but I'm on the team, I wouldn't have gone. But I knew they wanted me to return punt, so I knew I was going to be on the field. And so that's why I was willing to do it. And then I go there. I play the last regular season game. We have the bye week, and then Michael Vick comes to town and beats the Packers in the first playoff game the Packers ever lost at home.
Wow.
And it ended for me right there. And with that in mind, I'll never forget getting all the running backs together. And William Henderson was talking because he was the elder statesman, not counting myself because he had been there. So seniority wise, he'd been there. And so he was talking to all the young guys and about working on their craft and everything. And then finally he's like, "Matt, you've been in the league a long time. Do you wanna say something?" I said, "Yeah, I'll say something." I started talking to these guys about being serious about this, making it a job, and just not just taking everything for granted. Don't take everything for granted that you play in Green Bay and teams come here and they never lose here because they're professionals also. So you have to work on everything. You have to be serious about it. You have to treat it as a business and go out there and handle your business. And I said to those guys, I said, "You know what? I'll tell you this. You guys think you're real good. I'm 35 years old. I was sitting at home minding my business and they called me. How good are you?"
Wow. Boom, take that home.
and William Henderson looked at me and said, "That's real talk right there." And I said, That's what I'm saying.
Truth.
You know, right.
Dang, that's cool.
It's the truth.
So my last question I have for you, E, is like, back in the day and when you played and now, what do you think are some of the biggest differences that you see with today's NFL? Well, college and NFL for that matter, versus back when we played, because it's a different world now.
Oh man, I would love to play today.
You eat it up.
I mean, it's just so spread out in college and in the pros, and so like back when, especially when I first got to Texas, everything was in between the tackles, and so a guy like me who's a little smaller in stature, I'm not someone that, until I got older at Texas, but in the NFL, that someone's going to give the ball 20, 25 times a game and say, just tote this mail and you carry the team, not in between the tackles, but because of the way the game is played, you don't have to carry 20 times or whatever. You can be like Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey and those guys and touch it 30 times because they're catching the ball a lot. They're running the ball a lot. And then I would even have the other thing, and that was returning, which they don't do. And so I would have loved to have played today because I would have so many more opportunities to score touchdowns.
Wow.
Who was your favorite coach to play for in the NFL, either head coach or position?
June Jones.
Yeah.
June Jones.
And why is that?
He was a player's coach. I mean, he was real fun. And I mean, because he actually played. And so it was real. He made it real fun for us. He didn't try to beat us up, and he was just about going. As long as everybody did what they were supposed to do, it was a lot of fun. And so and I still talk to June all the time. And so we were close. And so and so he was my favorite. Even though I didn't think once I got traded to Atlanta, I didn't think it was going to work there either. And because
really?
he immediately moved me to the slot, and when I had never played receiver full time. I was a running back who split out sometimes and got to be covered by linebackers and safety. So I'm supposed to win, but now I'm talking about being in the slot and sometimes split out, and now I got to play against real DBs full time, and so I didn't think that was going to work in training camp. I was like, oh, this is not going to work. And it's not gonna work. And then once the real games came, it came real easy. And so that year I was able to catch 104 passes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's not normal.
He's not still in Hawaii, is he? When did he leave Hawaii?
Oh shoot. So years ago, so he was coaching in the XFL. He was coaching the Houston team, and so before that, he was in Canada.
Okay.
And so he had just left that, but he still has his home in Hawaii.
Okay, yeah, because he was the head coach at UH for a long time.
And then he went to Canada, and he went from Hawaii to SMU.
That's right.
Yeah, Hawaii to SMU,
right.
then
Yes.
SMU to Canada. Because even when he was at SMU, he was trying to get me to come work with him.
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yeah.
So why didn't you go into coaching? Football, that is. I know you track. Why didn't you go coaching football?
Because I like my time.
I've heard that a lot, and especially in college.
I like my time. I don't want to be chasing kids, and which I did in track, but it's different. Track you only get just a few hours of practice and all that. You don't have to watch all the film and everything. But I like I don't want to be chasing kids and going to have to tell a kid that he's great, and I really might not think they're great.
Eric wants to tell you, listen, you suck, and I don't want you on my team. But I can't say that.
But I can't say that. I don't want your
Eric
mom
would be a
mad.
terrible recruiter.
Right, but no, actually in track I was a very good recruiter. I was very good. But in football, I don't think I would have been good because that's the one thing I am blatantly honest about when it comes to football and whether somebody can play or whether they can't. And so I would probably be bad at that. But like I said, it's your time, especially in the pros, because you get there their coaches get there at 6 in the morning, don't leave till 11, 12 at night, but yet they make a lot less than the players. But they're there all day and night away from their family, and I don't have time for that. I don't want to do that. I want to enjoy my life.
Yeah, or they're there, or they just sleep there all night.
Right.
We've heard that too. You know, it's where you're almost never home. I get that. So
yeah.
When you were inducted in the Texas Sports Hall of Fame in 2017, what did that mean to you?
It meant a lot. I mean, especially someone being from Seattle, Washington. You know, I never, because I'm not even inducted to the Washington State Hall of Fame. And so it meant a lot because that meant that during the time I stepped into that state, that people really appreciated what I did as an athlete. And so it was really big to me. It was a lot bigger than people probably think. It meant a lot more to me than people probably think, just because I know that I only spent 4 years there. And so to spend that 4 years there and play the two sports and accomplish what I accomplished, I just know that that means not only people from UT respected what I did, but that means people just from the whole state in the sports world respected what I did.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. And you're in there with some of the greats in Texas sports history. So, you know, of course you deserve it. Now, do you know this? There is a writer for Sports Illustrated that is making the case for you to go in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
And he's making a good case, and he's
making a good case,
and he's right. And look, I mean, I'm glad you brought it up, but I don't like to really talk about it.
Okay.
Because it's hard that you really like talk about yourself.
Right.
At least it is for me. But
well, he is.
Since we're being honest, I deserve it.
Well, his name is Chris Dukes. He published an article on April 1st where he talks about, you know, your not only your career as a running back, but as a kickoff returner and such. Only player in NFL history with more than 7,000 yards from scrimmage and 7,000 return yards. Wow. That's not bad. Ranked number 16 all time in all-purpose yards. 17,230.
Was in the top 10 when I retired.
Yeah. I mean, it's
so
it'd be hard for me. And of course I'm a little biased, but it'd be hard for me to not vote for you.
What we gotta do?
I'm probably more biased.
That's it. Let's start the campaign.
If it happens, it happens, and if it doesn't, I'm still cool with my career and everything I've accomplished. I mean, of course, I would lose my mind if it happened, because once again,
well, at the very least, College Football Hall of Fame that needs to happen now.
You know, but it's funny because I was talking to Antonio Langham today, and he just got on the ballot for the College Football Hall of Fame, and I was thinking to myself, I probably deserve being in the NFL Hall of Fame more than I do the College Hall of Fame.
There are those.
Yeah. Why do you say that? Why do you say that?
Just based on stats, accomplishments, things like that. Because I mean, at Texas, I only rushed for 3,000 yards or so. I don't know how many TDs I had. I didn't return that many punts for touchdown. I think only one, maybe. I think I still have all the receiving records for a running back in Texas. But it's nothing compared to when we talk about being the first person to have 7,000 yards offense and returns, having 17,000 total yards in the NFL. At one time, being the first person to return double-figure punt returns. One time having the kick and punt return combined record, being All-Pro 3 times and making Pro Bowl 3 times. That's my Texas career is nothing like that, and so I honestly believe I deserve the NFL more than College Hall of Fame for sure.
Right, and there are several that are exactly that. They're in Canton, but can't find them in Atlanta at the College Football Hall of Fame. So I get that. So and it could have been
Tom Brady's going to be like that.
There,
Right.
exactly. Tom Brady was, he was what? He was your, better than average quarterback at Michigan,
Right.
and 6th-round draft pick, and then now look at him. So
Right.
I get
Sure.
that. What fills your time besides the working with track teams and the track club and everything? What else fills your time right now?
Just being a family guy, just making sure that everybody at the house is taken care of. Oldest daughter just got her master's, and she's gonna take a year off before she goes and get her PhD. Like I said, my son is at ASU playing football. His twin sister is going to fashion school in LA, and so just trying to be the best I can be. All I do right now, because we can't do anything else, is walk 9 miles a day, and with my weight vest on, and I do. And so,
Right,
9 miles a day, because there's nothing else to do. But yeah, that's what I've been doing for the most part.
I don't want one question left, man. So Texas barbecue's king. So any barbecue up there in Seattle?
Not like you would. You would probably be disappointed. hey, but I tell you what. But I can take you to get some seafood, and you'll want to move here.
Oh yeah, I'm sure of that one.
for
I'm
sure.
sure of that one.
Yeah. I mean,
My
come
wife and I went up to Seattle 2 years ago. Love the food there, man. It's great.
It's a Mark Berry. You guys remember Mark Berry? Played DB there with us. So he and his wife, they come up here just because they just like to come up here and hang out and kick and go to some restaurants and everything. So they do that from time to time as well.
Nice.
World famous fish market there in Seattle.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Oh, I love seafood. Well, Eric, man, it is so good to talk to you. It's so much fun having this conversation. I still say you need to be in that same conversation with Ricky and Earl. So tell everybody how they can find you on Twitter.
You can find me at Eric Metcalf 21. This is very simple. I'm on there talking cigars and every other thing I can think of.
All right. What's
cigars?
What's the current cigar of choice?
Well, my favorite is Partagas Series D number 4. That or the Monte Cristo number 2. And so
Monte Cristo number 2.
All right.
So yes, but I smoke a lot. I got my own line coming out.
What?
So,
Hold it. Breaking
Like your
news
own
here.
line of cigars?
Yes, I do.
Oh,
Yes, I do.
Look at that. Well, you got to send me some. I'll buy a box for you. At least send me one for free.
I will for sure.
Because I like my medium bolds. I like my medium to bold. I love the good smoke that
Yeah. You got to let us know about the cigars. All three of us. We smoke
for
cigars,
sure.
so we'll pump that out as best we can. But Eric, again, great time talking to you. Thanks so much. It's been a lot of fun. That'll do it for this week's Longhorn Lowdown. Make sure you follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Longhorn Lowdown. You can follow Todd Hunt at 94.hunt on Instagram. Stevie Lee is at Stevie Lee65 on Instagram and Stevie J Lee on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Stu Myrick. That's STEWMYRICK. We'll be back next week. I think next week we've got Roy Williams in the hot seat. But until next time, have a great week. Have a safe week. And as always, hook 'em.
Okay.